In radio and television, it's RCA all the way.
The Radio Corporation of America presents The Magic Key. Your host, the family of RCA, whose members include RCA Victor, RCA Laboratories, Radio Marine, RCA Communications, and the National Broadcasting Company. Magic Key turns, bringing you a sparkling salute to the 80th anniversary of the birth of Victor Herbert, the king of American light opera. In this full hour of Herbert's music, you will hear the operatic baritone Thomas L. Thomas, the brilliant young soprano of opera and concert Ann Jameson, the popular radio tenor Jan Pierce, the men's quartet and the mixed chorus of the Victor Light Opera Company, the Victor Salon Orchestra, all under the direction of Nathaniel Shilkret. Mr. Shilkret was closely associated with the famous composer during his lifetime. The program opens in a gay musical mood with the orchestral setting of Herbert's piano work, Badinage.
Today, we greet you from the most famous of all RCA Victor recording studios, that in New York City. The Victor Salon Orchestra is before us, ready to play the music of Victor Herbert. This Irish composer was brought to America in 1886 by Walter Damrosch, and he became one of America's proudest boasts as a master of lasting melodies. Here in RCA Victor's New York recording studio, the room we are in is designed primarily for acoustic perfection, to deaden echoes, and to ensure that the recording microphones will capture every note, every delicate shading of tone. There's no audience, only the orchestra, now on the alert, the conductor, engineers, and officials concerned with broadcasting and recording. RCA Victor records are to be made of this same music you will hear during the next hour, with the same singers and the same orchestra. You will soon be able, by means of the new Victor Herbert record album, to repeat the program as often as you like, the music you want, when you want it.
A medley from one of the most popular of all Victor Herbert's operettas. Nathaniel Shilkert conducts our soloists, choir, quartet, and orchestra in selections from The Red Mill.
Every trouble and care quickly vanishes there, and all is made happy again. So we'll leave this cold, weary old world, dear, where there's nothing that's quite what it seems, and we'll sail on the sea. Just you and me, in the isle of our dreams. A man can say most anything, it doesn't sound so bad. A woman may be angry, but by custom she is bound to be a perfect lady, and she mustn't make a sound. But just let something happen when there's nobody around. Shining so
the peach crops always fine. They're sweet and fair, and on the square, the maids of Manhattan for mine. You cannot see in gay Paris, in London or in court, the queens you meet here every step in all
And Jameson brings us what is perhaps the most familiar and beloved of all Victor Herbert's songs, the ever popular Kiss Me Again from Mademoiselle Modiste. Many of Victor Herbert's piano works were scored for orchestra by his close friend, Harold Sanford. We hear two of them now, Air de Ballet and Al Fresco, as interpreted by Nathaniel Shilkert and the Victor Salon Orchestra.
What is your radio set to you? A handy gadget to tell whether the clock is right or whether it will rain tomorrow? A piece of furniture to dust? Something to bring you next fall's football games? Your radio set should be an invitation to enjoyment. Whether your receiver is a resplendent console in the living room or a handful of electrical magic on the kitchen table, within it lies music for any mood. Fact and fancy, laughter, drama, news of all the world, food for the mind, and refreshment for the heart. All this treasure for the taking. Nathaniel Shilkret and the Victor Salon Orchestra have just played Panamericana, one of Victor Herbert's best-known works for orchestra.
In 1910, the hit of the New York season was Victor Herbert's light opera, Naughty Marietta. Here are two highlights from the production. The romantic I'm Falling in Love, as sung by Jan Pierce, and the rousing finale, Italian Street Song, with Ann Jameson as soloist.
the familiar NBC chimes, your signal for fine radio entertainment. The Magic Key of RCA.
We continue our full-hour salute to the memory of Victor Herbert, whose 80th anniversary will be observed this Wednesday, with selections from that favorite with youngsters of all ages, Babes in Toyland. First, Nathaniel Shilkert and the Victor Salon Orchestra and The March of the Toys. 5 more favorites from the land of Mother Goose as brought to life in the music of Victor Herbert. We hear Ann Jameson, Jan Pierce, and the girls' chorus in a medley from Babes in Toyland.
little Bo Peep. I have been careless and lost my sheep. Say, have you seen them, Jack and Jill, during your journey off the hill? They're not on the hilltops, but in the wood. They may have met with Red Riding Hood. Never mind, Bo Peep, we will find your ship, no matter where they be. So we gave Bo Peep, though astray, your ship soon home again. We will see, Bo Peep, for a while your ship. Never mind, Bo Peep, we will find your ship and bring them back to
When you've grown up, my dears, and are as old as I, you'll often ponder on the years that roll so swiftly by. And of all the many lands you will have journeyed through, you'll oft recall the best of all, the land your childhood knew.
Weighed 10,000 tons and sailed 5,000 miles, with a cargo large of overshoes and carving knives and files. If the mates were almost 6 feet high and the boatswain near the same, would you subtract or multiply to find the captain's name?
and carry too.
Gee,
But this is hard to do.
Oh, you can think and think and think till your brains are numb. Oh, I don't care what teacher says, I can't do the sum.
The gaiety and romance of gypsy life are vividly brought out in the comic opera The Fortune Teller, from which we now hear a medley of 3 songs. First, Romany Life with the Victor Light Opera Company Chorus, Gypsy Love Song by Thomas L. Thomas and Chardas, featuring Ann Jameson.
Sweetheart, dream of the field and the grove. Can you hear me in that dreamland where your fancies roam? Slumber on, my little gypsy sweetheart, while little woodland dove. Can you hear the song that tells you all my heart's true love?
Now a return to Naughty Marietta. Thomas L. Thomas sings the familiar Ah, Sweet Mystery of Life and 'Neath the Southern Moon.
sea, oh, love so warm and free, 'neath the spreading shade of the palms in sweet surrender, while the breeze at the perfume laden drifts from sea. Tropics bloom so rare, breathe their languor on the air. Let me dream and love and live for thee, for thee.
After Victor Herbert's Sweethearts was produced in 1913, it was temporarily eclipsed by the composer's other works. But today it is the most popular of all Herbert's light operas. Nathaniel Shilkret now brings us a medley from Sweethearts, featuring Ann Jameson, Jan Pierce, the quartet, the chorus, and the Victor Salon Orchestra.
this fate. So for thy love my heart will wait, as all surrender would defy to tempting kisses tender. So sunshine veiled in shade, such joys of life and love in hearts are always known.
The broadcast is finished. But the Victor Herbert music you have just been listening to will live. Wax recording discs will now capture every breath of music just as you have heard it. These wax discs, inscribed with the immortal melodies of Victor Herbert, will be rushed in air-conditioned trucks to the RCA Victor plant in Camden, New Jersey. There, handled with infinite care, they will be made into reverse steel engravings conforming to every delicate impression in the wax. Powerful machines and expert operators will use these steel engravings to press out Victor higher fidelity records for the Victor Herbert album, which will be released at your nearest Victor record dealers about May 1st. One more hour of music will be immortalized forever through Victor Records. But don't wait until May 1st to see your RCA Victor dealer. See him tomorrow, so that he may demonstrate to you RCA Victrolas ranging in price from $19.95 up, and play for your enjoyment and pleasure the music you like from the Victor Record catalog of the world's greatest music as performed by the world's greatest artists.
members of the family of RCA, RCA Victor, RCA Laboratories, Radio Marine, RCA Communications, and the National Broadcasting Company invite you to tune in next week for another full hour of radio entertainment. At that time, you will hear the sensational young Metropolitan Opera Company soprano, Marjorie Lawrence, that distinguished star of the American stage, Eva Le Gallienne, in a special radio sketch called Sunny Morning by the Quintero Brothers. Swing and sway to the rhythms of Sammy Kaye and our regular conductor, Frank Black, directing the Magic Key Orchestra. This is Milton Cross speaking for all the services of the Radio Corporation of America.
And Ben Grauer saying that in radio and television, it's RCA all the way.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.